You talked about personal freedoms and Canada's history of multiculturalism, and you didn't talk about it much, multiculturalism, but Max did in a speech. And it's created kind of a balkanization of some peoples who have moved to Canada, people moving into same neighborhoods rather than integrating. What is your position on that?
I think the people that come to Canada, they need to come from a perspective of first analyze why you're coming. And then analyze the culture in which you're coming into. If you're coming into Canada to get away from something in your own country, do you necessarily want to bring that with you? And if so, I mean, what parts do you want to keep? But you have to realize that you're coming into a country that does have established values, and it's a democratic society. In which case, if you don't share those same values, then that's going to create conflict, I think. So, you know, I don't think anybody should come into any country and then establish a country within a country. Mm-hmm. You know, we need to have people that are coming here for the purpose of integrating into our society, becoming a part of a larger community. That doesn't mean you give up your cultural values. It doesn't mean you have to give up your religion or your heritage, but it doesn't mean that you come and you have the right to impose, you know, things that we necessarily in a Western civilization and a Western culture disagree with, or you know, again, it's where your freedom ends is where mine begins. So it's about mutual respect.
Which is one of Max's tenets.
Fairness, freedom, respect, and personal responsibility. You know, those are our cultural values. Those are our Western values. Those are, you know, what make us a free and democratic society. Those are the reasons people want to come here.
Right. Do you want to talk about Islam and Islamists and terrorism and that sort of thing, and how it affects our immigration status and our immigration statistics or whatever? Do you have any thoughts on that?
That's again, freedom of speech, political correctness. Those issues are hard to talk about in Canada today, because if you oppose Islam for some reason, just by saying you're speaking about it, oh, you're Islamophobic, or you know, you're racist, and that becomes the issue. Again, it's the political correctness around some of the topics that I think shut conversation down. And when we shut conversation down, we're censoring. People are not free to speak. These are feelings that create resentment, I think, and I think a lot of people in Canada are afraid a little bit that again, it comes down to values. We're allowing people into our country that don't necessarily share our same values. The president of Pakistan addressed 30,000 Muslims in the United States in an address, not in English, in their own language. And, you know, they talked about reestablishing 7th century Sharia law. I have a little girl. I'm a woman. I mean, I've got men in my life who have fought in this country to make sure that I can walk my own streets safely. I can live in a country that respects my rights as much as they respect yours, being a man. And Sharia law is one of those, and it's not, and it's funny because we talk about moderate Muslims and then we talk about extremists, and I'm going, again, I'm not an expert in Islam, but where does one end and one begin? You know, if you look at Sharia law, there's certain practices that are perfectly acceptable, and physically disciplining your wife is one of them. Well, I personally don't care to be physically disciplined.
Perfectly acceptable in Sharia law, but certainly not.
It's not a part of our culture. It's not a part of our values. So I think extreme Islam is certainly on top of people's minds, even though they may not necessarily want to openly talk about it. But I think they don't want to openly talk about it because they don't want to be labeled, and because of the political correctness. And so I think by stifling, though, the conversation, I think we're creating the problem we're trying to fix. Because if we don't understand something, the best way to correct that is to discuss it. Right? Otherwise, it's the secret no-go zone, and we've never had those in Canada before.
Well, you mentioned censorship, and that's in the news lately. It's just come up, as a matter of fact, with this new commission created by the government, a government commission, that is going to determine whether or not Maxime Bernier can attend the debates.
We have a membership that is larger than the Green Party, and we accomplished that in less than a year. We have candidates in I think about 309 ridings for sure across Canada right now. To not allow Max into the national debate is wrong, and it is a direct attack to make sure that his ideas are not. Conservative ideas are being attacked in Canada and in the Western world in general. You follow Chad Prather, you follow PragerU, any of these, and they're all conservative ideals and ideas. And all of them are facing the same censorship, same challenges, because they're conservative, they're not left ideas.